Hello, folks. The old deplorable basket case here. So, I've got some more things to say about the Wonder Woman film. Now, if you've seen my earlier videos on the subject, then you know my opinion on it. It's a fun movie, enjoyed it a lot, with some serious problems. Structural problems with how some scenes are arranged, and also Wonder Woman's message, which is very irritating. Her going on and on about what is honorable and how people should fight a war when she's never been in one herself. Acting like a little girl. Now, yeah, the first thing I have to say is a message to all you fine, wonderful people who commented on my earlier videos, replying to things that I said. Yes, it is appropriate for the character to behave like that. I know it is appropriate. I said it was appropriate in the actual videos that I made. I feel so much better. It would also be appropriate for the men who had actually been fighting a war to call her on her behavior, to point out that she's behaving like a little girl. Now, I propose a scene in my earlier talks on the subject. I propose a scene where someone turns on her and says, "And how many wars have you ever fought in, little girl?" Now, I would like to elaborate on that. I would like to expand that scene. I was thinking about this earlier today. I feel I need to talk about it, which is why I'm making this video in the first place. I would like to expand on that. I would like to have someone turn on her and say, "How many wars have you fought in, little girl?" Now, I would like this to be, things wrong with the movie. Okay, so they have this message, war is bad. Fine, okay, no particular argument there, but they never actually showed the horrible things that were in World War I. Okay, we saw the refugees. We saw people in mud. We never saw any of the things that really made World War I bad. We didn't see flamethrowers. We did not see poison gas, except in a laboratory. We did not see, people stuck in mud under machine gun fire. We did not see tanks rolling over trenches full of people. Horrible things. If you wanted to make that message, you could have done it. Speaking to the filmmakers there. I want to have seen an actual World War I battle. And at the end, Wonder Woman would, given her character, be lecturing people about how that's not how to fight a war. I would want to see someone turn on her and say, "And how many wars have you fought in, little girl?" And then Wonder Woman would probably be somewhat put aback by this, but then she'd rally and talk about how she knows what is honorable and what is not. Whenever she's talking, it should really light into her and say, "You have never fought a war at all. This is a war like no other. We have fought this war." Flamethrowers, yes, flamethrowers are awful. They started using flamethrowers first. Poison gas is awful. They started using poison gas first. If we don't use these weapons back at them, we will lose. Winning the war, ending the killing, these are the goals. This is what we need to do. I would have liked to see that. What I would also like to see is the rape of Belgium. I would have liked to see a more classic Wonder Woman story. Wonder Woman, she went to America, she was in World War II, she helped fight the Nazis. Now, like in World War II and World War I, we were the good guys. The Germans were the bad guys in World War I. Okay, Imperial Germany was not as evil as Nazi Germany, but who is? Really? Who is as evil as Nazi Germany? Okay, there are people who might be, but not many. So I would have liked to see that. I would like to have seen... I would have liked to see the people making the movie take a side. Because as the film is, okay, there's this general kind of sense that the Germans are the bad guys, but it's almost lost in this sea of war is bad. So I would have liked to see them go behind enemy lines and go through Belgium and see what the Germans did in Belgium. What the Germans did in Belgium was really awful. And I would like to have seen another scene at some point after more horribleness, more fighting, at the end there's at the end of a battle, and it's quiet. And Wonder Woman and whoever it was who was yelling at her earlier, they're sitting next to each other. And they've just been through more awfulness. And it's very quiet, and she says, "This is still no good way to fight a war." Sticking to her point, sticking to her guns, being the strong-minded Wonder Woman that we know and love. And whoever was yelling at her earlier about how she doesn't know how to fight a war, and this is how they've actually been fighting a war, and he's very quiet for a long moment, and he says, "You're right. That is no good way to fight a war." Okay, so her point is made, and his point is made, and they're both good points, and so not only is this way his point is made, which it was not made in the movie at all, or made very badly at the end, but her point is now much stronger. Because we watched the whole movie them treating her like a little girl. They didn't argue, they just let her talk. They didn't argue with her, even though they knew better. They did not confront her with the facts of anything. They just treated her like a little girl. Now this way, they're treating her like an adult woman. This way, her point is confronted, her point is argued against, and it still comes out as a valid point. And that is how to make a valid point to your audience. So I would have liked to see that. I would also like to, talking of classic Wonder Woman, okay, this movie should not have been the end of World War I. This should not have been that huge, giant world thing, okay? It should have been this world saving. It shouldn't have been that. It should have been a classic Wonder Woman movie. It should have been, or a classic Wonder Woman story, excuse me. It should have been, there is a threat. This new poison gas. It's dangerous. We need to get that. That's classic Wonder Woman. So they go out there, they go behind enemy lines, they destroy the lab, they end that specific threat. And that would still have been epic. That would still have been awesome. It would have been, in my opinion at least, a much better movie that way. I'm pretty sure that we, the film-going, superhero-loving audience, are kind of full up of saving the world, okay? I'm pretty sure that we would like to see more, oh, what's the word? Okay, cat in tree movies, okay? Not end of the world, not everything hanging on a thread, but people in danger, you know, or heroes being heroes on a more human scale, a more approachable, more relatable film. I think we would like to see that. I think that would have been a better movie, and would also have left open the possibility for more Wonder Woman movies in World War I, which would have been really cool. So, okay, they were on the Western Front. There was an awful lot of World War I. Okay, they could have gone to Africa. They could have gone to the Middle East. They could have seen a huge, oh, what's the word? A whole lot of settings, a whole lot of locations, a whole lot of really cool enemies they could have fought. That could have been awesome. You know, DC, they could have made a lot of movies. A lot of movies. They could have made a lot of money. So that's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. Please comment below with anything you have to say. I'd like to know what you think. And what would you have liked to see in a Wonder Woman movie? What would you have liked to see more Wonder Woman movies in World War I? Where would you like them to have been? Any plot ideas? Any enemy ideas? I'd sure like to know anything you have to say. That's all. Have a good day, and God bless.